Imagine being 24 and feeling like your life has completely collapsed. That was Rafiq Rahman. No job, no savings, and a degree that felt worthless. To make matters worse, his father, the family's only provider, had been bedridden for 4 months. Bills were piling up on the dining table like silent, terrifying monsters. The rent was 3 months overdue, and the threat of the electricity being cut off loomed over them every single day. The landlord had already given his final cold warning. Rafiq's world was small and worn out. He had just one pair of shoes, the solace so thin he could feel every pebble on the street, the laces torn. He owned 2 shirts, both so faded they had lost their original color. He would sometimes laugh, trying to make light of his situation, saying, "Life is simple when you re-broke, because you don't have the money to complicate it." Underneath that forced smile, reality was suffocating him. The weight of his family's survival was a physical burden on his shoulders. One evening, he stood outside their small, rented room, watching the rainwater drip from the edges of the tin roof. The sound was a constant, dreary reminder of their leaking, fragile existence. Inside, he could hear his mother's muffled sobs, a sound that pierced his heart. His little sister sat silently in a corner, hugging her schoolbooks tightly to her chest. They were more than just books to her. They were her future, a future that was slipping away because they couldn't afford her school fees. In that moment, Rafiq felt something shatter inside him. It was a unique kind of pain, a pain that only true poverty can inflict. It's not a pain that kills you outright. Instead, it's a pain that corners you, leaving you with only 2 choices: surrender or rise. That night, something shifted. Rafiq walked out into the rain-swept streets, alone on an empty road. He didn't have an umbrella. He didn't have a single coin in his pocket. All he had was one burning question echoing in his mind. Is this all my life is meant to be? The cold rain soaked him completely, plastering his thin shirt to his skin, but he barely noticed. For the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid of poverty anymore. He was angry at it. A deep, primal anger began to well up from the depths of his soul. And that anger ignited a fire inside him, a powerful, blazing fire that would change everything. He walked for hours, the fire in his gut growing with every step. He realized that waiting for a miracle was a fool's game. Miracles didn't happen to people like him. They had to be created. He returned home, drenched but different. His family saw it in his eyes. The fear was gone, replaced by a steely determination. The very next morning, he did something he had been too proud to do before. He went to a local tea stall owner, a man he knew from the neighborhood, and asked for any work. Any work at all. He offered to wash dishes, clean tables, run errands, anything for a small daily wage. The owner, seeing the desperation and the new spark in the young man's eyes, agreed. Rafiq started that same day. The work was hard, the pay was minimal, but it was a start. It was hope. Every single rupee he earned was a victory. He would bring home a small packet of rice or some vegetables, and the sight of food on the table, however simple, felt like a triumph. His mother's crying lessened, and a faint smile began to return to his sister's face. He worked from dawn till dusk, his hands raw, his body aching, but his spirit was soaring. He wasn't just washing dishes. He was fighting for his family. But Rafiq knew this wasn't the final answer. It was a lifeline, not a destination. During his short breaks, instead of resting, he started talking to the customers at the tea stall. He listened to their conversations, their problems, their needs. He learned about the local market, about what people were buying and selling. He was a sponge, soaking up information, looking for an opportunity, a gap he could fill. One day, he overheard a group of office workers complaining about the lack of good, affordable lunch options delivered to their workplace. An idea sparked. It was a risky idea, one that required a small investment he didn't have. He went home and shared his plan with his mother. He wanted to start a small tiffin service delivering homemade lunches. His mother was a fantastic cook. If they could just get started, maybe, just maybe, it could work. Seeing the conviction in her son's eyes, his mother sold her last piece of gold jewelry, a pair of small earrings she had saved for his sister's wedding. It wasn't much, but it was enough to buy some basic supplies and ingredients. The first day, they made only 10 lunch boxes. Rafiq, using a borrowed bicycle, delivered them himself. He was nervous, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. The first week was slow. He sold 5 boxes one day, 7 the next. He faced rejection. Some offices turned him away. But he didn't give up. He remembered the feeling of that rainy night, the anger, the fire. He kept improving, asking for feedback, adjusting the menu based on what people liked. He ensured the food was always fresh, delicious, and delivered with a smile. Word began to spread. Have you tried that boy's lunch service? It's really good and so cheap. Soon 10 orders became 20, then 50, then 100. He had to hire his first employee, a boy from the neighborhood, then another. Within a year, Rafiq's small tiffin service had become a thriving local business. He paid back all their debts. They moved out of the leaking tiny room into a proper flat. His sister was back in school, excelling in her studies. His father was getting the best medical treatment and his health was improving. Rafiq never forgot where he came from. He never forgot the worn-out shoes, the faded shirts, or the sound of his mother's tears. The rain-soaked night remained etched in his memory, not as a symbol of despair, but as the moment of his rebirth. It was the night a boy broken by poverty decided to become a man who would break poverty's hold on his family. His story is a powerful reminder that sometimes our lowest point isn't the end. It's the solid ground we need to push off from to launch ourselves higher than we ever thought possible. It teaches us that anger, when channeled correctly, can be the most powerful fuel for change. It's not about waiting for the storm to pass, but about learning to walk and even run in the rain with a fire burning inside you that no storm can ever extinguish. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that inspires. We all face storms in our lives, but remember, you have the strength to walk through them. See you in the next video.